In the elevator, the ride up to Shepard's quarters was quiet, and Garrus had a feeling that the good doctor was not being fully forthright with him.
Well, today's been an eventful one, hasn't it? First, we find the Geth consensus floating around inside the Normandy, along with EED's fractured mind and your incident. Are you sure you're all right, Tali?
I'm fine, Garrus.
She looked down and realized that she had instinctively placed both her hands on her tummy. Garrus's face was still, his mandibles twitched slightly, and after seeing this, he knew what was wrong, or what was right with her. Tali was going to be a mother.
I don't know what to say. I can't imagine what you must be going through right now, but you can count on everyone here to help you. You're not alone, Tali.
But she wasn't saying anything. Her thoughts went back to the night they spent together, before the final assault on Cerberus. Tali had just gone up to see John in his quarters.
It will be a few hours before the rest of the fleet arrives, so we have got some time.
Shepard looked up from his data pad and gave her a small smile.
Do you have any suggestions how to pass the time, Miss Vast Normandy?
Tali made her way over to the bed and sat down. She patted the bed, asking him to sit next to her, and he did so gladly. They held hands as Tali was feeling nervous. The last time she felt like this was the night she spent with him before going through the Omega-4 relay.
I could stay here with you until we get the call.
I would like that, Tali. I need you here with me right now, and I don't want to be alone.
I am here for you always, John.
Shepard gently placed his hands on either side of her mask, getting ready to release the clips. Then Tali's hands met his. She looked at him through its faceplate, and together they removed it. Tali's face was now fully exposed to the Normandy's environment for the second time, and John smiled upon seeing her beautiful face, along with Tali's, and they drew closer to each other until their lips touched, locked in a gentle and loving kiss. They started to undress each other, and helping Tali out of her suit was easier the second time round. When they had finished, they were both left in just their underwear, and both were now laying on the bed in a loving embrace, still gently kissing each other. Her black hair was cut short so that it wouldn't interfere with the Enviro hood and helmet seal. He gently kissed one side of her exposed neck. He could feel Tali reacting to it. Her embrace got a little tighter and she softly gasped. John then expertly with one hand reached behind Tali's back, unhooked her bra's fastener, pulled the bra away and dropped it to the floor. Using one of her hind-like legs, Tali brought her foot up and taking hold of the material of his shorts with her two toes. Then she pulled them down and off in one flowing motion. That seemed to take Shepard by surprise. It caused him to stop what he was doing and look at her.
That was new.
Tali had a playful look on her face.
You disapprove?
His response was to hold up a pair of lower undergarments, her lower undergarments. She didn't even feel him remove them, and it was Tali's turn to look surprised.
How? How did you do that?
You disapprove?
Tali then rolled him onto his back so that she would end up on top of him, her legs straggling over his pelvis. She placed her hands on his chest, looking into the eyes of the man that she has fallen so madly in love with. She leant down so she could kiss him, and in that moment, she again said those words she had spoken on Rannoch.
I love you, John.
Tali, are you all right?
She snapped out of her daydream by Garrus's worried voice. She looked at him.
Sorry, Garrus, I was miles away.
More like light years. What was you thinking about?
He paused, not really wanting to intrude. Then the elevator stopped and the doors opened. Suddenly, Tali rushed out of the elevator, through into the quarters and straight into the bathroom. Garrus stood outside the bathroom. Its sliding door was closed and he could hear Tali being sick. He knocked on the door.
Are you okay in there?
Sounding a little nauseous, Tali responded.
I'm okay. I think the humans call it morning sickness. A strange thing to call it, and it's not even morning.
There are a lot of things about humans I still don't understand.
He heard her again being sick and thought it better leave her to it.
I'll just make a sweep of the room and see what's floating around in here.
Later, Samantha Traynor and Gabriella Daniels were in the AI room and its workbench. Edie's body had been temporarily moved to the medbay and placed on one of the beds. They had just finished creating a small and basic containment unit to house part of ED's disembodied mind. The unit looked like a snow globe, and they had already inserted the single piece of EDI's essence. They both looked at the single blue star now floating at the center of the unit's glass globe.
There. The unit is powered up and ED is sitting pretty.
Part of her is. Here's hoping they find the rest of her.
As if on cue, a crewman walked into the room and holding another piece of ED's consciousness with his Omni tool. The crewman said that he had found it in the shuttle bay and in one of the shuttles. Then, 2 more crew members walked in, also holding their piece of ED's consciousness. One was found in engineering, and the other was in the Normandy's main battery room. Daniels got them to gently push their pieces through the glass of the containment unit, and one by one they did so. As each piece entered the glass globe, they saw the piece merge. With each piece of ED's consciousness, it grows just a little more, and the glow got that little more intense.
3 down and 2 to go.
So if we do manage to gather all of ED's disembodied mind fragments, how are we going to put her back into the core?
We don't.
They turned round to see Adams walking into the room and holding another piece of ED's mind. He quickly added it to the rest that was in the containment unit, and again its size increased a little more as well as the glow's intensity. Traynor was puzzled, so Adams explained.
ED existed in both the Normandy and her android body. With a little modification on the android body, she could fully exist in it and not having to be in broadcasting range of the Normandy itself.
Why would we do that?
It's only temporary. I need the cores empty and free. Before Joker removed her shackles, she was only a cyber warfare AI and isolated from the ship's main systems, so the Normandy can still function without her.
Why do you want the cores free?
She then had a shocking look of realization on her face.
Wait a minute. Are you thinking of placing the entire Geth consensus in the AI cores?
That's crazy. The cores are not designed to hold that many programs, and besides, even if we did manage to squeeze them all in, what's stopping them from taking over the Normandy?
That's why I want to get ED fully integrated into her body. She can help us find a solution. We can't have the Geth consensus floating around inside the Normandy for too long, and if someone was to accidentally open an airlock or the shuttle bay doors, we could end up losing a lot, if not all of the Geth minds.
It's still a crazy idea. But you're right, so what sort of modifications are we talking about?
Adam smiled, and he started to explain how this was going to work. In the Normandy's cockpit, Chakwas watched Joker's face light up with pure excitement, joy, and relief, all at the same time upon hearing the news about ED. So much that Chakwas thought that the Normandy pilot was going to leap out of his flight chair and dance away, forgetting the fact that he suffers from brittle bone disease.
Are you sure? I mean, you're not playing a cruel joke on me or something? Oh man, this is great news. How did she do it?
Slow down, Jeff. It's not a joke, and we still don't know how she did it. Only EDI can tell us that.
I'm so happy. I don't care that she's an AI equivalent of a spirit. She's alive.
Joker got his chair to spin round as he threw his arms in the air and cheering with delight. Chakwas smiled broadly. She was happy for him. He had been so quiet and locked in ever since he thought ED was lost forever by the Crucible's energy wave. Chakwas walked away, leaving Joker to continue his celebration.